table that I set my phone on. My phone. Child, look at all this gray hair. I'll get it washed tomorrow. Thank you. All right, I gotta set this on here for a minute, y'all. Hold on. Ooh, these phones are hard to get off these things. These cases. No wonder they're supposed to be so good about helping you. I mean, because baby, when I tell you, this thing is hard to get off. Okay, I'm waiting to see if anybody comes on because I have some people that I really just met, well, through YouTube, and they were encouraging me to talk about my lupus life because people really don't understand lupus a lot, so I'm going to talk about it right now. But while I'm talking about it, I want to try on this wig that I got from Amazon. I got this wig from Amazon. It says 100% human hair. I don't know what the name of this thing is. Oh, I lied and said they didn't send nothing. Look, they sent some eyelashes. Girl, I didn't even know that was in the bag. And they sent a wig cap. So, I asked my husband to talk to you guys today about lupus. Living with someone who has lupus. In this case, living with his spouse that has lupus. Why? Because, again, people don't really understand the disease, the characteristics, the problems of lupus. So, I'm just opening up the wig cap while I'm talking. I know it's probably a boring video for people because they think she is not grafting. And you're right. So, I'm going to put the wig cap on this big head of mine. And I want to get my hair braided, but I don't want to get it braided right now because my birthday is in May. And if it's the Lord's will, I see May the 6th, that's my birthday. And I'll be 60. And I've been dealing with lupus all of my life, but we just didn't know it was lupus. Lupus has been hard to diagnose. And the year that I got diagnosed with lupus was the year that I was approved for Social Security. But prior to that, they weren't accepting lupus as a disease. Now look at this. This is so fluffy and pretty. Because I'm tired of wearing that long wig. It's been warm here pretty much. And this wig has a headband, 1, 2, 3 combs, 1, 2, 3, 4 combs, and an adjustable band. So it has the Velcro on this side, and it comes loose, and you can tighten it to fit whatever size your head is. Okay, so I'm going to try to slip this on right quick. I might need Rhonda's help. I don't know. Listen, y'all, because you know I got a big head. No comments from the peanut gallery. All right, so I clipped it in the back, and I'm going to clip it. I'm probably only going to use one clip in the front for right now because clips really hurt my head. Let's see how, I'll do all 3. Let's see how it turns out. I just want to be able to have something I can slip on during the day and not be scaring my husband all the time and people who come over, because he could He won't say it often, but he'll make comments about when you gonna get your hair done. Stuff like that. That means he's sick of looking at my hair being all crazy looking. Which I could say I don't blame him, because I get sick of looking at it. So this is nice and short. This is a nice length. It depends on how far you sit it back on your head. It could be longer. But this is a nice length, and if I put on a little makeup, you know, then it'll be what it is. Hello, Luciano. Hello, Shawana. How y'all doing? I don't really like black hair, but this is like brown and black a little bit. More black than brown. But this is what I have on. And I think it's kind of cute to just like put on to have something on my head so I won't be looking crazy in the house all the time. And then when I go out and I don't feel like having that long braided wig on, I could just throw this on, put my little makeup on, and be cute and keep it moving. At least in my opinion. Be cute. Yes. I ain't too bad though when I put my makeup on, for real, so. Whatever. Whatever, people, whatever. So this is kind of cute. It was only $24.98. No, it was more than that. It was, what was it, 26, I think? I think it was $26.98. And, you know, you can play around with it and do whatever you want to do with it. This comb on this side is sticking me. Yeah, this side is not doing right. But anyway. So, my husband's rolling into the room. I hope I can get him in the frame in a second. But I wanted to talk to you guys real quick about this thing called lupus. And what I want to talk about is the fact that lupus is a hard disease to diagnose. Lupus can be very, very tricky in diagnosing because it mimics other diseases. Lupus is very painful. Lupus is very scary to me. Lupus is very unkind to the body because lupus, it causes your body to attack itself. So lupus is an autoimmune disease. And I've been dealing with this officially since, 2001. I've been officially dealing with lupus. And I never can remember. My husband always has to tell me, scoot over here so you can, they can see you. So my husband and I got married in 1999. I got diagnosed with lupus in 2001? I thought that's when I had a hysterectomy. I had a hysterectomy in 2002.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same year was born, you got diagnosed.
Okay, so that's been 22 years ago that I got diagnosed with lupus.
After 23.
And Shawana said, nice price. Shawana said, hi, hubby.
Hey, how
hubby.
you doing?
So, for those of you who don't know, this is my husband, Gerald. We've been married for near about 25 years. November the 4th be 25 years. And so we got married in 99, 2001, I got diagnosed. Now, prior to me getting diagnosed, I had been sick. Every time we would go to church or go to choir rehearsal, mostly, we would leave choir rehearsal and I wound up going to the hospital emergency room.
One of the many.
For whatever. I think every hospital in Philadelphia and the county knows who I am because I've been there, unfortunately. But nobody ever could diagnose. No, we don't have any children together. He has a daughter from a previous marriage, and I have 3 children from a previous marriage. And it's 6 grandchildren and 1 great-grand. So, yeah, we got a lot in the family, but it appears that autoimmune diseases run on my dad's side of the family, and I'm guessing that's where I got it from. But none of my siblings, those of us that have the same father and mother, none of us none of them, I should say, have lupus. I'm the only one that's been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease out of the seven. Well, the what is it? Six. The six my mom had with my dad, and the seven that she had with her husband, her first husband. She had. I haven't heard anybody say anything about any of my other siblings having autoimmune disease.
So
However,
probably on your father's side.
Yeah, so that's what I think is
your
on my
mother-
dad's
Yeah,
side.
because your mother had all the children, so
Right.
one of them besides you would have had it.
So out of 13 children total, nobody has lupus or an autoimmune disease that at least that nobody has spoken of. My children, as far as I know, don't have an autoimmune disease. Nor any of my grandchildren that I know of have any autoimmune disease. So from a child, I was sick all the time. I was always sick. Something was always wrong with me. My stomach, my head, my hands. Yes, the father side of the family. Yeah, that's what I believe. So my hands, when I was younger, I used to drop things. My hands would hurt. They would swell up. And unfortunately, with me being in foster care, people always used to think I was doing this stuff for attention. Now I realize that in some situations in foster care, I was under a lot of stress. I was abused. I was going through a lot of stuff. And that's probably what brought on a lot of my sickness when I was a child. Because when you have an autoimmune disease, stress really...
It's a trigger.
And it amplifies it. My husband said it's a trigger, and it amplifies what's going on in your system. So I had never even thought of that until actually this moment, that when I was going through a lot of the sickness that I was going through, it was probably because of me being stressed out. Okay, when you're verbally abused, when you're, treated like you're not really a part of the family, you're here because of the money, when you're getting physically abused and allowing the other children to abuse you, the other children in the home to abuse you, all that kind of stuff, I believe now played a factor in me always being sick. And when I was an adult, at least let's talk about when I met him and when we got married and we were together, I was sick a lot of the times because I didn't realize it then either. I'm realizing things right now as I'm talking, that I was under a lot of stress then. I was under a lot of stress at work. I was under a lot of stress at my church. They required so much stuff from me.
Even your living conditions were.
My living conditions prior to him were stressful. I was married to a man who was on drugs. He used to steal from me. He used to go out and cheat, and sleep with other women, and I had to deal with that. I had to hide all my stuff because he would steal it. It was just one thing after another. I was with my kid's father. I was married to him for 12 and a half years before we got divorced, and that marriage was stressful. I got married to him when I was 17 years old. And if I would have had the mind to listen, then I would have had to go through all of what I went through. And some of it was because of me. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blame my ex-husband for everything, but a lot of it was because of him. And I'm not going to get into that other part right now. But when I met Gerald, I was sick. I was having all kind of sickness. Every time I tell you, every time we went to choir rehearsal and left choir rehearsal, we always had to stop by the hospital because it was always something hurting me. Something was always wrong. And the strange thing about it is that the doctors never could find anything. They would always say, well, the test came back negative. The test came back negative. Though they could physically see something wrong. Now, side note, or should I call it a side note? Mm-hmm. The doctor that I just got finished seeing, he's a neuro-ophthalmologist. And he was checking me out because my regular ophthalmologist or optometrist was looking at my eyes like, something's wrong with your eye. My right eye, I've been having problems with this right eye for a long time. But now I'm seeing double. My eyes are, they cross sometimes. One eye will be up, one eye will be down, one eye will be in the corner, and the other one will be looking straight. And the doctor sent me to get an MRI to find out what was wrong because he thought it was either a nerve that was getting messed up from this aneurysm over here, or maybe it was another aneurysm, or something else was going on. Well, I got the test results back the other day, and the test results um, did not indicate that there was any nerve damage to my eye, so he don't really know what's going on with my eye while he's doing that. But he did find out that the aneurysm that I thought was gone is still there. So I have an aneurysm up here that has a stent on it. I have an aneurysm in the back of my, well, it's on my what you call it? What's this artery?
Yeah.
The cartoid. What is it called? Cataratic. No, what is it? I can't think of it. But anyway, the
It's on all one of the arteries.
carotid.
Carotid. Yeah.
The carotid artery. So I have an aneurysm on my carotid artery. And then he indicated that there's a smaller one than that. That's in my head somewhere. So a lot of things that I'm going to, we believe that is lupus related that's causing all of this stuff to happen. When Gerald was taking me to the hospital back and forth, they were saying, oh no, we can't find anything wrong. We can't find anything wrong. Go to your primary care doctor. You need to go to them, and you need to check this out. You need to check this out, and this, and this. So finally, he found a doctor, Dr. Eade. He found his doctor in New Jersey, and she did some testing, and happened so that day when she tested me, it was positive for lupus. This was after Dr. Taylor, wasn't it?
No, before. Dr. Taylor was the first one.
Okay, so Dr. Taylor is a
dermatologist
that I went to. It was suggested that I go to this doctor
in 2001.
In 2001, and she, because I had a spot, I just had a little spot on my nose,
She referred to
and the person
butterfly.
that referred me to them thought I had skin cancer. So he said, I need you to go see this doctor because I think you have skin cancer, and I want them to biopsy you and see what's wrong, because if you have skin cancer, it needs to be taken care of. So I went to the doctor. When I walked in the door, the first thing she said is, oh, I already know what's wrong with you. I'm freaking out. I started panicking. She was like, calm down, calm down. I know what's wrong with you, but I can't tell you. We're going to do a biopsy. So they came over here, somewhere around my ear, and took off some skin and did a biopsy. Came back. She called us. We go. Gerald's sitting in the car because we're nowhere to park. And she tells me I have lupus. Now, I don't know. She told me I had discoid lupus. I had the skin lupus. She's like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. You got to stay out of the sun. Do your joints hurt? Yeah, my joints hurt. Do you feel tired? Yeah, I feel tired. Okay, stay out the sun. Put on sunscreen. Take this medicine. All this medicine. Every time they give me medicine, I get sick behind it. So I go to the car and I talk to Gerald. And I'm like, Gerald, the doctor said I have lupus, and we both bust out crying. Now, the funny part is, I didn't even know what lupus was. Okay? I had no idea what lupus was, and neither did he, actually.
No, I didn't. What I knew about lupus, I certainly heard of it.
I never heard of it.
Yeah. Being someone who was born with a disability, I've heard of almost every disease you can have.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
I knew it was serious. That's why I was upset, because it was very serious. Unlike others, though it appears to be invisible. I mean, little marker along your nose, well, okay, just like the doctor said, nothing to worry about. A lot of people have dermatological issues. Nothing to worry about. But I knew that the case of lupus, that it was more than just nothing to worry about. It has potential to be very harmful. And though it may seem to be benign or insignificant in how it appears and even how it expresses itself initially with a person, you can already tell it's what we call an invisible disability. Nevertheless, it has very potent and very life-threatening aspects to it that could actually end your life. And other diseases, other conditions, they're obvious. Someone who can't walk, someone who can't hear, someone who can't see it, that's obvious. But very seldom are they those things are not life-threatening. I have cerebral palsy, and cerebral palsy does alter my life significantly, always has, but it's not life-threatening. Lupus, I knew this much about it. It is life-threatening. What it all means and what it all is entailed in it.
Hi, Ms. Riz.
We learned that as time went on, and now we're very knowledgeable about the effects, the results, the impact that it has on someone's life.
Let me say this. lupus that I know of, there are at least 3 different types of lupus. The first lupus I was diagnosed with was discoid lupus, which affects the skin and your joints and stuff like that. Right now, I got knots growing on my fingers, and I have my joints, they hurt like excessively. Hi, Ms. Riss. Happy Friday. Blessings to you, too. I have problems. I have neuropathy in my feet, really, really bad, but I have 2 discs in my back that are messed up, and I have very little circulation in my right leg. That's a whole nother story, so we're not talking about that today. The second lupus is SLE, systemic lupus. And the third type of lupus is medically induced medicine, let's say, medicinally induced lupus, which means you take medicine, a certain type of medicine, and it causes lupus, but when you stop taking it, the lupus goes away. Okay? So I just gave you 3 types of lupus: SLE, discoid, and medicinally induced lupus. I have 2 of the 3. Lucky me, right? So, in my case of lupus, and let me say this, everybody that has lupus does not present the same way. We do not have the exact same symptoms. We don't have the same type of flares. Everybody's not on the same type of medication. Symptoms are so different and can vary from person to person. Same with cerebral palsy. Everybody with cerebral palsy will not present the same way. It's just not that way. It's most like that with all diseases, because somebody might have cancer and they might have the same type of cancer, but it might be more aggressive. It might be this. Everything's different. So it's the person.
Same as with lupus.
So lupus is the way it presents with me is that, of course, my bones ache. I get very, very bad headaches. I have episodes like I'm having a seizure. Not the kind where you bite your tongue, but like sort of like epilepsy, right?
Well, leprosy will be biting your tongue too.
Oh, leprosy without the biting of the tongue.
Yeah.
I have
disoriented.
I'm disoriented, nearly passed out,
right.
Not passed out. I can't talk well.
Can't focus.
I can't focus. So all those kind of things happen. Hey, Rhonda Armstrong. So that's how lupus affects me. I had problems with my eye. I had a bubble on my eye. I got that taken off for a biopsy, only for them to tell me that I had lupus that I already knew. But they again thought that I had cancer. My skin gets horrible. Some days I wake up and look like a complete monster. I look like a monster. And that's how I say it. Monster. And some days I can't get out of bed like without being in extreme pain. Some days I'm so exhausted. I have plans to do stuff and I can't do it because I'm too tired to do it. Like today, I was going to go to the store today. I can't. I have no energy. And a lot of times with me, if I go outside, the next day I can't function well. The next day I cannot function. I went out yesterday to the dentist and they pulled one of my teeth. And at a certain time after I came back, I was just tired. But when I got up this morning, I was exhausted. There's a difference between tired and exhausted. I just feel like I can't do anything. When I get in one seat, I just sit there because I'm tired. And I can't explain my exhaustion to people. I can't explain the type of tiredness I feel. It just is. And my husband always can look at me and tell, like, you're not feeling well, are you? Even if I don't say anything. So he knows the signs and the symptoms of what's going on with me. Now, as a result, I believe as a result of having lupus, and my husband believes it too, that I've had a stroke. I was in my 30s. I think I was 33 when I had a stroke. I was having TIAs after that, but I don't have those anymore, thank God. I have AFib. I had a heart attack. I don't remember what year it was, but it was declared that I had a heart attack. sitting in my living room, and it wasn't a major heart attack. It couldn't have been because I was in the hospital, what, a couple of days on a heart ward. You know, they put the monitor on you and all that. Um, what else? I have stomach problems. Okay. I have stomach problems all the time. Chronic constipation. The migraines. I said I have migraines. I have
vertigo. You suffer with
vertigo. I have
coordination. Like
coordination.
Fumble, you can't really get your feet together.
My feet won't cooperate. Right. My bones snap all the time. In my hands, you can literally hear my bones snap. They don't break, they just snap. They do that in my feet. So if I walk, I have to walk with a walker or some type of assistive device because at any moment I could fall. So
most of the time we travel in a wheelchair now.
Yes, my doctors have put me down as a fall risk. Yeah. I don't leave outside of my home without being in a motorized, powered, however you want to say it, wheelchair. But people don't notice about me because when I craft, you don't know this about me. You don't see me sitting. I don't sit in my wheelchair at my craft table. But you don't see me, because I'm sitting at my desk, right? Right. And you don't see me get up in the morning. You don't see me in the middle of the night crying because my feet hurt so bad that I literally want to take my feet off and throw them away. This is how bad the pain is. The pain is so sharp and so intense. It's just, and I can't even explain it to the fullness to make you understand. But these are things that happen to me that people don't know. My hands get numb when it gets cold outside. My fingers hurt. I haven't seen my fingers actually turn blue, but they darn near white. And the pain is so intense. Even if I put gloves on, it's like I don't even have gloves on. It's like I don't even have shoes on when I go outside. Everybody that feels my feet, even when I'm in the house, they're like, your feet are so cold. Like, what is going on with you?
We keep the house pretty warm.
Yeah, and the house is warm.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that house.
So, right now as I'm talking, my feet hurt. I can't walk without shoes on. But if I put on any type of shoe, my feet hurt. I got one pair of shoes that I can wear faithfully, and they about to wear out. So I'm not getting another pair of those. That's the only pair of shoes that I can wear without my feet really hurting anymore. If I put on sneakers, the pain is like, I feel like I'm walking when I'm not. If I put on boots, I feel like I'm walking when I'm not. Anything that goes on my feet is painful. So the disease is progressing, and lupus kills people. It kills people. A cousin of mine died about, 4 or 5 years ago. She died from lupus. Tore me apart because she was the only person who truly understood what I was going through. Even though her lupus was more advanced than mine. She lost her hair. Her face was messed up more than mine. She really went through it. But she's gone now, so I don't have anybody. Well, I have chosen not to join groups because when I hear people and I hear their stories and hear all this, it makes me sad, and I know what I'm going through, so I don't even want to deal with that. Which my husband said I need to join a group so I can, talk to people or whatever, but I just don't be feeling like it. So, when I craft because it kind of takes my mind off of the situation. What? Oh, so my husband just gave me a list of celebrities who are dealing with lupus. It's 10 people. Charles Kuralt, he was a newsman. Corey Brodus, I don't know who that is. That sounds like one of Snoop Dogg's kids, because his last name is Brodus. I don't know if that's true though. Flannery O'Connor, I believe that's a actor. Jay Dilla, I don't know who that is. Millie the dog. Millie the dog of former First Lady Barbara and U.S. President George H.W. Bush. Okay, we got dogs with lupus. Okay. Nick Cannon has lupus. He's been very vocal about it. Seal has lupus. He's been vocal about it. Selena Gomez has lupus. She's been vocal about it.
Tony
And
Braxton.
Tony Braxton, I don't know why her
She's
name's
famous.
not on this
She's the most
list.
famous of them all.
Here she is right here.
Yeah.
Tony Braxton, she has
Lupus.
lupus. And somebody named Tim Raines. I don't know who most of these people are, but Tony Braxton definitely has lupus, and she suffers a lot from her lupus. Yeah, sometimes she can't perform, sometimes she can't breathe. Now let me say this. Lupus, the systemic lupus deals with your organs. Okay? And my husband's saying, yeah, I'm going to have him talk in a minute. Systemic lupus deals with your lungs. So when you hear me, I said I had a heart attack. I said I had a stroke. I said I have AFib. But I also have a lesion on my lungs. It's not easy for me to breathe. When I get up and move from one place to the next, I'm out of breath. If I get in the shower and happen to be hard-headed and wash myself, when I leave out of the shower, I have to sit on my bed for at least 15 minutes to catch my breath. What I was doing something yesterday, and my husband said, man, look how you breathing. Like it was something simple, and I was just breathing heavy because I can't breathe good. I'm not on any breathing devices or anything like that. But it might come to that because it's hard for me to breathe. I'm overweight, so let me say that. But a lot of it is due to the medication that I'm taking. I'm taking 9, 10, 13 pills a day. And 5 of them are prednisone or steroids. And my doctor said steroids are making my bones brittle and told me that at any time my bones could break because I've been on steroids for so long. I've been on steroids for 20 years. And now he's trying to wean me off of the steroids. So I'm taking 9 lupus pills now, but next month I'll be taking 8 because he's trying to wean me off. And then the next month 7 and so forth and so on. So many times I wake up, my feet are so inflamed, they're just red, like on fire red. And I take pictures and videos of these things so that when I go back to my doctor, they can see these things. Because a lot of time when I go to the doctor, the symptoms aren't present. You know how that is when you go to the doctor, nothing wants to show up when you go to the doctor. So those are some of the things that I deal with lupus. And I asked my husband earlier today, how do you feel as my husband dealing with someone who has lupus? And now I'll let him say what he wants to say.
Well, certainly when she first was diagnosed back in 2001, it was really devastating to the point that, she and I both were here in Philadelphia and we were sitting in the car. And when she revealed it to me, I had to stay in the car. There was no parking, so she went in by herself. And when the doctor told her, naturally, we both were very upset. I had heard about lupus, did not know to what degree it took. I didn't know to what extent it manifested itself. But truly, I knew it was nothing to take lightly, by no means. And it was something that needed to be addressed, something that needed to be treated, and something that needed to be followed up on. About 2000 and, about 2000 and maybe 6 or 7, 2006 or 7, we moved to New Jersey from Philadelphia, and she got another doctor that was very good. We called her Dr. Eve, another one that that particular one I found, and I just said, why don't you go here and see what she says. It was near to where we lived. So she went there, and she was the first one that actually diagnosed her with more than just the skin lupus type of disorder, but rather the type that impacted the organs, the kidneys, the liver, even the heart. So even sometime when she has heart issues and difficulties with her heart, I mentioned that I think I remember about there being a connection between the heart and lupus. And then, of course, she looked it up through the website, and she did say a correlation between certain heart diseases and lupus. Lupus is nothing to play with, and I've seen her in her struggle. I've been with her in her struggle. One time we went to a doctor's visit with me, and after she was okay. She was no indication, there was no problem. She was in her wheelchair. I was in mine. We were just traveling with our aides, no problem. All of a sudden, she stops. in the middle of thank God it was in the middle of the street, but the middle of the street rather than the middle of the highway. She stopped all of a sudden and she just couldn't respond. We talked to her, Teresa, she could not respond. She certainly could not navigate the wheelchair by no means, and it was a powered one, so we had to wait it out. And she had that the remnants of that symptoms, even when she finally were able to get home, she still had remnants of what she went through. And this all of a sudden, unexpected, unannounced, things like this happen on a frequent basis. Thank God, most of the time she's home, but it has happened when we've been out in the street, out there doing some business or whatever. I remember one time we were at the grocery store, the Walmart in our area, and we were shopping, no problem. She was discussing what she wanted to buy, and we were discussing that, and all of a sudden, again, she stopped talking. She was non-responsive, non-verbal, just sat there. And it lasted a good little while, even to the point when we had to finally check out our items and pay for them. She used the wrong card. She didn't know what she was doing. She was incoherent. And these kinds of examples are sometimes very scary, sometimes very intimidating. I hate when she has to go out by herself. Thank God we do have aides for her, and most of the time they're with her. But I'm on the phone with her, making sure she's okay, talking to them, talking to her as she's traveling up and down the highways on buses, in Ubers and taxis, however else she transports herself. Because I'm just concerned about it. Her walking is very suspect. She was just getting up yesterday. She was just getting out of the chair, and she was uncoordinated completely. Feet were getting tangled up and all of this type of thing. These type of things are very difficult. I've seen her almost fall. One time she did fall to her knees because the situation was so bad. I've seen her many times. My aide and her aide had to help her up from where she was seated, and had to take her back into the bed where she had to lay there, sometimes for days, before she got herself really together. So I've learned that lupus is nothing. I don't care how it looks, how it appears. Many times people see her, and she is walking, particularly around the house. She doesn't do much walking outside the house anymore, even during the whole time of her having lupus. But for the last maybe about 4 or 5 years, she's had to use a wheelchair, mostly a powered wheelchair. Other times, when she has to use a manual, an aide, or someone has to push her because she just is not able, through dexterity, to mobilize the wheels that need to be mobilized to move from one place to another. So I've seen the deterioration over the years, from just being an abrasion along the nose to being something significantly more interfering in her life, in her daily life. She's had to quit jobs. She's had to cut back on jobs, and ultimately had to resign from certain posts. And certain things, some of them she really loved doing, but she could no longer do it. She felt she doesn't even drive anymore. When it first came out, for the first 3 or 4, 5, even 6 years, even longer than that, she was able to drive. But as time went on and she had these episodes, I felt, and she agreed certainly, that it was not safe for her nor anyone on the road to have these kind of episodes when you're driving. It can be life-threatening to the maximum degree. It can end your life and the life of others who are around you. So she decided that she could no longer drive because it was just too unsafe for her to do so. But this time I've seen the shift from just an annoyance to really being so impacting that her life has been altered in very significant ways.
So as a husband, without, never having, you did have to deal with somebody that had epilepsy, so you kind of understand
that part of it. Yeah.
That part of it. But to actually see me, we've been married for almost 25 years, to actually see me go from who I was when you met me to who I am now, like, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel frustrated. It makes me feel very concerned, in the sense that, as she said, when we got married in 1999, though she had symptoms that we were not connecting at that time with lupus at all. She'd have stomach ailments, other things, like she said. We would go to church, particularly when we go to choir rehearsal on Tuesday or Wednesday evening, Bible study. We would go to Bible study. Before we even got home, we had to stop past one of the many hospitals on the way back home, some in Philly, some in Delaware County in Pennsylvania, and had to sometimes stay there overnight. You know how the waits are. Sometimes you have to stay in the emergency overnight being given medication, being treated, and all of this over and over and over again. But to finally see it, finally diagnosed, was soothing in one sense. We at least could identify what it was. There was an answer to what was happening with her. Everybody kept on, oh, it's nothing, it's psychosomatic, you're just imagining, you're being paranoid, you're exaggerating, whatever the phrase they may have used to minimize what it really was. When it started to unravel and be revealed exactly what it was, first the skin, and then ultimately the systemic lupus, which is your organs and other things started to fall into place. The puzzle began to become clearer. And as far as I'm concerned, what frustrates me the most, and I must say this, what frustrates me the most about all of this is because of who she is metabolically, she cannot take any kind of medicine. And the medicines that are the most effective against lupus are the most challenging for her to take. Some of them make her sick. Some of them make her even more sleepy and lethargic. The results of them are sometimes very devastating. They're worse than the disease itself. And so, just to see that there's no really resolution to this, and then it expands itself. Starts off with the nose. Now it's affecting the heart. Then it affects the eyes. Just to see the deterioration really bothers me greatly because I feel powerless. I feel helpless. And all I can do is empathize and sympathize, but I can't make a difference. And I know we believe in God, and we know God is able to take things away. And if he doesn't take them away, he's able to sustain us through them, which he's done over and over again. I remember when I think of Teresa, I think about the 3 Hebrew boys always, when they were faced with being thrown into the fiery furnace. And the king had ordered it. And he said, well, bow down and worship my idol, and I'll let you go. Now, these were men that were actually very prestigious within the ranks of the Babylonian kingdom, but they believed in God strongly. And so they refused to bow down to the king, to bow down to his idol. And so he said, well, I'm going to throw you into the fiery furnace, and I'm going to multiply 3 times the intensity of this place, this furnace. And they said, you can do what you want to do, but we know that our God is able to rescue us, to deliver us. But if he doesn't, we're still going to worship him because he's worthy to be worshiped. And so I look at her life and I see the challenges that I see her pressing through them. That encourages me. That gives me a sense that she's not going to let anything stop her. And that's the positive part of it. That she's not succumb to it. Yes, sometimes she has to lay down. Yes, sometimes her fingers are so filled with pain and discomfort, she can't do crafting. They're swollen up. They're cracking. They're not, the dexterity in them is not as fine-tuned as they normally are. And she has to stop for a while. And that kind of grieves me. But I see her the next day, or maybe a few minutes later, or maybe a few hours later, going back, sitting down, pressing. And then I see the products that she produces. And I say, my God, I love the spirit she has. She refuses to submit to, and she refuses to allow lupus to dictate who she is. I used to say this about my own condition, and I say it about hers. She may have lupus, but lupus has never had her.
But see, let me say this. I learned to be resilient from him because he goes through a lot on a daily basis himself physically. And I see him, he doesn't complain about the pain he has. His leg could be swollen like this, and he won't say anything. And if he does say anything, you better know he's in severe pain. Like, he can't tolerate it. He has a high tolerance to pain. But I've learned how to go through this mostly because of watching him. But I've always had faith in God. I've never lost my faith in God. Though I have complained, though I get depressed, sometimes I get so depressed, you could look at me and I'm crying. They'll be like, what's wrong? Nothing. Just start crying.
Or start acting like a baby.
Yeah, or Rondo asked me, what's wrong? And I turn into a baby and I start crying. And Rhonda Armstrong said, I had a friend whose mom had lupus and she lost her in 85 and my friend in 2017 from lupus. Lupus is a killer.
Oh, yeah.
It kills people. I haven't heard of, there are people who said they started taking herbs and stuff like that and their lupus went away. And that's their testimony. My testimony is that I've prayed and prayed and prayed and asked God to take this away from me. He hasn't. And whatever the reason is that I'm still dealing with this, I believe is being used as a testimony for other people who are going through, they may not even be going through lupus, but they might be going
Other
through something
challenges,
else. Yeah, some other challenge. And if they see, well, look, she's doing this, she's doing that. Maybe I can do it too. I used to do radio. My husband and I used to do radio. We were on a brick and mortar radio station in West Philadelphia when we lived out there. And I used to do radio. I used to do radio online. And people would always say when they found out about it, if I mentioned the fact that I had lupus and the things that I was going through, they was like, we would never know. Because we hear your faith, we hear your testimony. We would never know that you go through that. And sometimes it's funny because I'll have an aide come and they'll say, I actually had an aide come here and said, well, you don't look like there's anything wrong with you. Do you know she didn't come back? You don't look like anything's wrong with you. You got mad at me because I didn't look like anything was wrong with me, but the state says something wrong with me. The doctors say something wrong with me.
Federal government says it.
The federal government says it's something wrong with me. My body says it's something wrong with me.
You know something wrong.
But you don't look like anything's wrong with you, and didn't come back. I was like, well, dang, the nerve. See, Rhonda's here. Rhonda can tell y'all what she's witnessed.
Come on.
And the deterioration of me. She'll probably start crying because, you know, that's Rhonda.
She's talking to you.
But,
You spend 5 minutes.
she's seen the things that I go through. And I'm going to tell you this, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. I shouldn't say this.
Hi, everybody.
But I'm going to say this. When I'm going through my seizure episode, it's only 2 people I want to deal with me. And that's Gerald and Rhonda. If another aide try to touch me, I don't want them to bother me. And the only reason why I do that is because she's been with us for 7 years. And she has a touch where she tries to comfort me and try to get me together. Where other people are scared, they don't know what to do. And they looking around and Gerald got to tell them, go get her, go get her, go get her. My other aides that are here, and she'll be here being his aide and come run right over to me and nobody has to say anything to her. So if it ain't my husband, we already know that if I'm falling, he can't get me. But if she's here, she jumps to it. So I don't have to worry about it for the most part when she's here. And I just don't like other people bothering me. And so she can tell you what she's seen.
Yeah, she's really been through a lot, guys. You know, this lupus has really done some things, you know. This is the first time I experienced someone who has this, but I know someone who passed away from it, but I didn't know what he went through, you know. But seeing her going through a daily basis of her lupus, you know, it's something. It's something, you know. My heart goes out to her. You know, she gets to crying, I'm getting to crying. You know what I'm saying? So most days are kind of rough, but, you know, we get through it. We get through it. You know, by the grace of God, we get through it. But yeah, it's something.
It's a sometimes I'm embarrassed about lupus, about me having this disease. Sometimes I get embarrassed to the point that I just don't want to be bothered with anybody. Somebody's out there with that moped or something out there. Rhonda Armstrong said, I already read that. She had a friend whose mom had lupus and another friend who passed from lupus. And I think about my demise a lot. I think about the end result of my life a lot, more than I should.
It's real.
But I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I'm getting more and more stuff wrong with me. And I see other people who have chronic illnesses pass away. That affects my mind. Like, one crafter was waiting for lungs and she passed away. And she was a big crafter. And I was like, I'm still in shock about that. Like,
Yeah, you are.
she just really, her personality. She was sweet on camera. I don't know her beyond on camera, but she was sweet. She was always laughing, even with her oxygen in her nose. She always had a happy disposition. Most of the time when you see me on and I'm crafting, most of the time my disposition is good. I'm laughing, I'm funny, except for when this one comes, and then I have to just act crazy. It's like,
Girl, I'm gonna hurt her.
woo!
Anyway, I love her.
So, these are some of the things that I have to deal with. Attitudes. I have attitude problems. Because when I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. I just can't. If I say leave me alone, just leave me alone. And
I have a hard time doing that, y'all. So y'all know.
I wasn't even gonna mention her name, so she just threw herself under the bus.
I do. I have a hard time.
Rhonda doesn't listen. I will say leave me alone, and she will not leave me alone.
Nope.
She wants to get into bed with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, go somewhere. Don't you got a man? Why are you trying to get into bed with me?
What you talking about?
So I just don't understand why she be, and she snores, so she's not getting into bed with me.
When I was sick and stuff, my mom comforted me. I'm grown. I would go to her house and get in bed and lay with her. Next, you know, I felt like I was feeling better. So I was trying to do the same for her. That's all.
She snores. Soon as she hits the pillow, she starts snoring. So who wants that in the bed with them? Like, no. You know what I'm saying? So now, my husband's telling me to get tested for sleep apnea. He has it. He knows the signs. He knows everything. He sees me going through it. So now he's telling me to get tested for sleep apnea.
Yep.
I don't want to deal with sleep apnea because I see what he go through. Have to put on that mask. Gotta have distilled water. Mask gotta get cleaned out. Gotta go through all of this stuff. I ain't about that life. But if it's gonna prolong my life, then I want to do it. So that's a little bit about lupus. So maybe I'll just do these maybe once a week and let y'all know what's going on. And let y'all see what's going on, the real behind the scenes of lupus. And as a Christian, people will tell you that you got to stand on your faith. Don't confess having lupus. Don't, speak it into the atmosphere that you have this and you have that. Well, listen, I have it. What I'm going to do? I'm not trying to have people, pity me and this, that, and the other because I have it. But like my husband said, I have it, but it doesn't have to have me. Let me tell you something. If lupus really had me, I wouldn't even be here right now. If lupus really had me, I wouldn't be here. Because this disease is debilitating, it's depressing, it's stressful, it's annoying, and all of that. When I go through depression, my husband will tell me really quick, hey, happy Friday, big sis. He'll tell me in a minute, put your gospel music on. Put your spiritual music on to help you get out. You got to do this. And he knows when he hears me around here playing the gospel music, he already know I'm going through something or I'm about to go through something. Because that's how God usually warns me, to start playing this music so whatever is coming, I can get through it. Or if I'm going through something, I can get through it. Because I promise you, when I'm going through all this pain and stuff I'm going through, I don't feel like praising God. I don't feel like praising God. But when I turn on the music and I just begin to listen to it and begin to listen to the words and start, getting into the atmosphere of praise, then I'm able to deal with what I'm going through. But I'm just here to tell you the real deal about stuff because people don't know what lupus does. People don't really understand. You see all of this? It's because I'm fat. And sometimes I just can't stand myself. I can't stand looking at myself.
Steroids.
Yeah, and I'm fat. And I feel ugly. I feel like, I just feel horrible. I don't like looking at myself in the mirror. But that's what I do. So, yes, that's Rhonda in the background. Minda.
Hey, Minda. What's up, girl? What's what's up, girl? She on?
Yeah, sure. She can't answer you.
No, I see some writing come up.
Well, she don't take shorthand.
Yeah, that's it.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I be talking about. All
That is it.
Okay. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today. Miss T with the T was talking to me about doing a program about lupus because there's people out here will need to hear stuff about what I go through with lupus.
I want to see if people can see this. This is for you 2 years before you were diagnosed with it.
Oh, that's a shame. This is me 2 years before I was diagnosed with lupus. It's me and my husband. We were in the Bahamas. I was a stick figure, but I was cute.
That was the same year of you.
And look at
that
him.
was 2001. Same year you were diagnosed.
Oh, it's the same year I was diagnosed with
Remember we
lupus.
went there in 2001. Because Nene was in the belly of her mama.
Yep.
So that was 2001.
That's me. It's skinny.
And that's June. Now keep in mind, that's early June. So she just been diagnosed not long before with lupus.
So.
And with the steroids and other medications she's had to take over the years, it has made her gain weight. Not because of any serious alteration in her diet and all of that, but basically because of the medication she has to take. It does impact. The steroids does impact significantly the way someone looks in terms of gaining weight and all that type of thing.
And it's not just the steroids, it's the other medication too.
That's right, and all the medication.
Yeah, all mixed up. So I get so depressed when I look at myself sometimes. If I go in the bathroom, we have a mirror in there on the medicine cabinet, but it's right as you walk in the door. So as soon as you walk in the door, you see yourself. And sometimes I just be like, oh my God, you are so gross. Like, I just call myself the Michelin tire. You know, I call myself a whale. I call myself a monster. All of these things I call myself because that's what I see when I look in the mirror. Unless I wake up one day and I'm feeling kind of good and I put some makeup on and then I feel good because I feel like I look good then. But, you know, that's just a self-inflicted ridiculousness. For real.
It's not self-inflicted. It's just, unless you're talking about you taking medicine, I guess that's self-inflicted.
I'm talking about the way I talk about myself.
Oh, yeah. It's self-abuse.
Self-abuse, right. Minda said, hey, Rhonda, love you much, sis.
Love you too.
And she said,
love you too.
Stop it, Butter. You are not ugly. It's just like Job. But God, baby girl, but God.
I love Job. I love him.
So, you know, I thought about that one day, Minda. I really thought about that one day. About his wife told him to curse God and die.
Yep.
I thought about that one day. It just came out the blue. I just thought about that. And I'm like, I would never curse God.
Nope.
If I had said this one day, and I don't know why I said this. I said, I guess it was something going on with my eye. And I said, if I go blind, I'm still going to serve the Lord.
Amen.
I said, nothing's going to stop me. So it is today that I'm not active on the radio like I used to be, but I plan to go back on the radio, even if it's to talk about this too. But I would like to have a panel of people. Well, I don't want to say a panel of people, but I would like to have guests, maybe, you know, somebody once a week who deals with chronic pain, and mostly people who deal with lupus, so you can hear their story versus my story and how they're not always the same. So lupus brings with it other things too. I have fibromyalgia. I have, what's the other thing? I can't even remember all of them. I know fibromyalgia is one. I have one where, you know, the thing makes your fingers and your hands, your feet get really cold when it's cold outside. I have problems speaking. Sometimes I can't get my thoughts together. I can't speak. And then when I go through that, when I have that problem, it's like me having a stroke, because that's how I was when I was having a stroke. I knew what I was saying in my head, but I couldn't talk. And it was so frustrating. So usually when I have those type of episodes, I will start crying. And my husband, he knows when I'm having it, because he'll say, Teresa, stop talking. He'll say, stop talking. Because he knows when I'm getting frustrated and I'm trying to talk, but I can't say what I'm saying. And he knows what's going to happen when I get frustrated. So he tries to catch it before it gets to that point where I get frustrated. So he say, Teresa, stop talking. Or Rhonda will hear me not talking right, and she'll be like, Tree, are you okay? Tree, are you okay? So she's learned to recognize the signs of when I'm going through stuff. Gerald already knows. And he'll be like, Teresa.
I watch her all the time.
She
say, what are you looking at me for? What are you staring at me for? I have to keep my eyes on her. Even when I'm working for a husband, I still got to keep my eyes on her.
She does that.
She said, please don't make me be at your door before this live is over. I dare you. Yes, she said, every day you wake up is a beautiful day for a beautiful you. It's a far better to be seen and not viewed. Well, that's true, but some days I don't want to be viewed. I just want to hide in the room.
A beautiful spirit.
Butter, do you know what an honor it is to be chosen by God? He could have chosen anybody, but he chose you. Why do you think that is, sis? I don't know. Sounds like Moses and Aaron. Yeah, Moses had a thick tongue. Come here, Gerald, do the Moses thing. Because people think Charleston Heston was like, let my people go.
Yep. Didn't work that way.
What'd he do?
Didn't work that way. When God came to him, he said,
stutter, yep. Yep.
Come on, Gerald.
Send somebody else. I have a thick tongue.
Yep.
This is how he talked. He didn't talk the eloquent way that Charlton Heston would speak, or when he came down with the Ten Commandments. He was so eloquent, so precise in his diction and in his speech. But that's not who God chooses. If you look at the Bible, the greatest figures in the Bible were men, and even women later on, that were flawed. You look at Jacob. He wrestled with the angel, and the angel touched his hip, and he forever limped. But he limped into destiny and became the father of the nation called Israel. Look at Moses, 80 years old, a fugitive, and had a speech impediment.
And a murderer.
But yes, and that's right, and a murderer. And God commanded him and led him into leading 9 million Israelites out of Egyptian slavery. Samson, because of his disobedience, was taken down by the Philistines. But God in his mercy allowed him to regain his strength, though he never regained his eyesight because they gouged out his eyes. But he was led by the Spirit, in spite of that, to defeat the Philistines, the Bible says, like he'd never done before. Then you have the Apostle Paul, who was stoned and left for dead in the city of Lystra. And from that, he developed epilepsy. And he went to God 3 times and said, take this thorn from my side. Went to the incarnate Christ and said, take this thorn from my side 3 times. And Christ told him, my grace is sufficient. In your weakness, you find strength in me. And Paul, this same man who had epilepsy, which meant he had seizures, went on to write most of the New Testament. Went on and took this local religion to the world, to all of Asia Minor. This same man that had epilepsy couldn't see well. That's why I had to write big print letters. They said he was so unimpressive as a speaker. He was not impressive as a speaker. But this man wrote most of the New Testament, and most of what we believe come from what Paul has written. God can take anybody. He can take a raven. He can take a great fish. He can take a donkey and do his perfect will. So we're none of those things. We're made in the image of God. So if he can take something like that, how much more can he do for your life? How much more can he do in my life? There's nothing God can't do but one thing. He can't fail. And Teresa, I, or anybody else who's challenged by anything, we're not junk. We're not made by accident. God has a purpose and plan for your life.
Menda said, "Let me go get my shout on right now."
Okay, and remember now, get that get that offering together too.
Brenda said that.
No, that's what Gerald said.
Oh.
She said, "Sounds like Moses and Aaron." She said, "My brother Gerald and Rhonda are there like Aaron was for Moses." Okay, next issue, Butter. She always got something to say. She said, "Yes, brother Gerald, yes." She said, "God doesn't call the equipped; He equips those He calls."
There you go. I like that.
Excuse me while I go get my shout on. Now, Gerald said something yesterday about many are called and few are chosen, because two of my sisters were talking to me. We were all talking together, and one of them brought up the many are called and few are chosen. And he spoke about that yesterday to a degree that I've never heard it before. Explain real quick.
Oh, okay. Well, I was saying the difference between called and chosen. Every believer is called. It's really not even a choice of ours. God calls us. And we're called to do all the things that Christ did and taught us to do. Help one another, love one another, be kind, with all the other things.
Be a light. Be a light.
Be a light in a darkened path.
Be a salt.
All of that. Be the salt of the earth. All the things He called us to do. The chosen are those who have specific jobs to do the kingdom, to build the kingdom, like a pastor, like a minister, like someone who's called to do that work in the largest sense. Everybody, every Christian is called, but few are chosen.
Amen.
We're all called to do something. A Christian that doesn't witness to nobody, that's not a Christian.
No, sign on paper.
He did.
Oh, okay.
No, you boo. I see you in the morning.
All
8
right.
o'clock, big eye.
Mm-hmm. And so that's my definition. Called and chosen, and we all are called. What the last thing Christ said before He ascended into heaven: go into all the world, baptize, teach.
Preach the gospel to all nations.
To all nations. That's all of our calling. Everyone is called to do that. But those who are chosen, like the apostles, who took this religion, this faith, I don't call it a religion, this faith called being a Christian, and took it to India, took it to France, took it to all of Asia Minor, took it to India. That's where Matthew ended up dying, in India. Andrew ended up dying in France. They took this, they were chosen for a particular work in building the kingdom. And so some of us are called, some of us are chosen. Whatever your calling or your chosenness may be, walk in faith, because God has a plan for your life.
Thank you. Minda is crazy. She said, God said He will make the rocks cry out.
Oh, yes, He
I
did.
will not let a rock cry out for me.
Don't worry about
Rhonda Armstrong said, I had to teach my daughter how to calm her mom down when she was having an episode when I wasn't with her. Hey, my friend was like you. I didn't pay her any mind either. Y'all need to stop with I don't pay you no mind stuff. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Lakeisha Jones. Hi, Lakeisha. Lakeisha Jones, do it yourself crafting. Hi. Butter, please let this moment be your aha moment. Ah, that's my shirt. Put your shirt on, sis. She said put your shirt on.
Oh, I got mine.
He got his on. Rhonda had hers on too. I gotta make some more. Hi everyone. Let's go over to Lakeisha Jones's DIY do-it-yourself page and check her out. Minda says, hi Lakeisha, welcome. Welcome aboard, sis. She said, how you been feeling? Child, you gotta go back and look at the video to understand. Minda has forbidden me to say anything else negative today. But I had to do this video because someone was suggesting that I do a video about lupus. So yeah, that's what I was doing today with this. And then I wanted to try this wig on I got from Amazon because it's short and I don't want to keep scaring my husband. breast cancer and kidney disease. Wow. Well, I thank God I don't have that. I've been trying to do cricket, doing shirts. Me too, Lakeisha. I see that, Brother Gerald. Yes, Brother Gerald. She said, I see you, Brother Gerald.
Hey.
Minda. She like it when you get to preaching.
That's who I am.
That's who he is. He been preaching since he came out the womb.
Yep, that's right, literally.
What you go get?
I just want to see if that's in water. You have to be water. I can't get that.
You want water?
No, I'm gonna get some of my stuff. I want to pour it into my my tumbler.
Oh, I'm getting ready to get off now, so I'll get it. She said, right, butter, because she loves it when you get on and you preach.
Thank you.
But see,
dear.
I wanted
I've been doing
to-
it 60 years this year. 60 years. I was 12 years old. 12 years old when I started preaching.
And I was 2.5.
Three weeks old she was.
I was 3 weeks old. I was
3
3
weeks
weeks old when he started preaching. But we're not going to talk about that because
Yeah, because it hurts her feelings. I was so old.
I was born May the 6th. And he started preaching
May the 31st.
May the 31st. So that's it right there.
1964.
I have not posted no video on my page from my cricket yet. Do it. Post it on your page. Do it. 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 All right, y'all. I'm hanging up because he wants some water.
I'm gonna do something.
And it's
Go on.
Continue prayers up for you, friends and family. Rhonda A. Yes, because we gotta pray for one another. We gotta lift each other up in prayer. You know what? Even when we don't feel good, we gotta lift each other up in prayer. Because praying for somebody else is something that God will admonish us to do. Lakeisha said, I'm scared. Scared of what? What you scared of? Well, I'm not going to act like I wasn't scared when I first started posting stuff on Cricket because I was. But I mostly was scared of rejection. But you don't have to show your face. If you don't want to show your face, you don't have to because you can set your camera up in a way that you don't have to show your face. Or you can get an overhead contraption so that you can look overhead and nobody will have to see your face. If that's what you're scared about. If you're just scared because you haven't done it on camera, then just do it. Michigan Red said, it's offering time. It's time to lift up an offering. It's like, let me stop playing. But for real. So, I can, if you want to talk to me about starting your YouTube or doing stuff on your YouTube page, I can talk to you. My Renaissance Grandma. You can also do videos making t-shirts on your Cricut or any other DIY, and don't worry about the negative comments. Hey, Renaissance Grandma, I didn't see you come in the room. But that's true. Because listen, there's always going to be somebody that got something negative to say. And if you start out and they don't start saying negative stuff, sooner or later they're going to start saying negative stuff. Because that's the nature of the beast. I remember the first negative comment I got, I was so upset. My husband said, Teresa, you think everybody going to say something nice about what you do? No.
Right.
There's always going to be a hater somewhere. But you got to have thick skin if this is what you want to do. Especially if you want to do it to try to make extra money on the side or whatever. You got to just go for it. Just go for it. Because if you let fear hinder you, you're never going to do it.
We got friends that are afraid of flying. That means you don't build no more airplanes because that's one friend.
Exactly.
Who don't want to fly?
So just start somewhere. You might not even like the video you do, but just do it. Start somewhere. I think my information is on my about page or whatever. You can contact me if you want to, and we can talk about it. I can help you go through it with it because I was scared. My husband bought me a Cricut, and he bought me the Cricut, and it sat in the box for weeks until he finally was like, look, I bought you this Cricut. You better start using it. And I started using it. When I look back at the stuff I made back then, boy, ooh, gosh. But I had to start somewhere.
And you sold some of that stuff.
I did sell some of that stuff back then. Because some of it was good and some of it wasn't, but I had to start somewhere. And then I got the bright idea of I want to do a YouTube channel, and I started doing that. So, yes, make t-shirts. That's where everything I do at home. I make my t-shirts here. I made a t-shirt today and messed it up. up, and I have to do it again because this type of sublimation that I was doing is different than regular sublimation because I love that hairdo butter. Looking good, beautiful queen. Thank you, sweetheart. This is my big sister, and she gonna tell me nice things anyway. But she will tell me the truth if it ain't right. She will tell me. But Lakeisha, I do everything here. I have a HTV Ront 15 by 15 printer that I mean heat press that I just got. I have an EcoTank sublimation printer. But I'm learning how to use the clear vinyl to sublimate on cotton, 100% cotton. Because thank you, Lakeisha. I appreciate that. Because a lot of people don't want to wear polyester. So now there are other ways to do sublimation, even with that powder stuff, the DTF hack, the powder. I have that too, where you use the powder and you make that. The only thing you can't do that on dark shirts. So that's why I'm trying to learn how to do the sublimation on clear HTV vinyl. So, and you are still cute. I'm going to tell you this. You are loved by everybody here on your live. Oh, don't make me do a Rhonda. Please don't make me do a Rhonda, because please don't make me do that. But thank you. I appreciate that so much. So much. You know, and for Rhonda and Lakeisha, y'all know that I know you love me for real, for real. I know you do. I can say that without a doubt. I know you do. Lakeisha said I got a 15 by 15 heat press, but I haven't tried DTF with clear. I just tried it today, and I messed it up. I should have videotaped it so you can see how I messed it up. And I messed it up on a shirt that my sister sent to me to make a shirt for her. And I really messed it up. But I'm going to use the other side of that shirt to practice on. So I'm going to watch a couple of more videos until I think I have it in my head correctly and then do it. Because it's 2 steps, or if you're using a black shirt, it's 3 steps. So I gotta practice some more. But then when I'm not feeling good, I can listen to a video all day long. But if I'm not feeling good, I can't. And I should have known better not to do that shirt today because I wasn't feeling it. But I decided, oh, I'm going to press on. I'm going to try it. And then what I do, I mess up the shirt. I mess it up. But guess what? That's how you learn. That's how you learn. Never forget, Butter, that you are loved and chosen by God. That's often my handle on text messages. It is. You know what? Somebody told me a long time ago that I was chosen by God. They said so many things to me, and I never really fully accepted some of the things that God has said to me and has called me to do, has said through other people. I still haven't fully accepted what God has called me to do. But he's I can't stand him. He said you better do it soon because you're almost 60 years old. Y'all, I can't stand him sometimes. He just gotta say something crazy. But that's true. So, I gotta abide by that because that is true. And y'all, if the Lord allowed me to see my 60th birthday, I'm going to act a fool because I'm going to be so happy because the devil tried to kill me in my mom's womb. He tried to kill me when I had that stroke. He tried to kill me when my kids were taken from me. He tried to kill me just over and over again. So to make 60 is a big deal to me. It's a huge deal to me. So if you see me on acting crazy, it's because it's a huge deal to me. A really big deal. Yep. And I'm happy about that. Yes, ma'am, I will because I love you for real, and I know that. Lakeisha said it's hard to sublimation print settings for DTF paper. Well, just look at videos on YouTube. Go to YouTube University, and YouTube University will show you how to do all of this stuff. That's how I learned. That's how I learned to do the DTF with the powder. That's how I'm learning how to do the sublimation with the clear vinyl and the glitter vinyl. I'm learning how to do that. My problem is I'm trying to rush it. I need to take my time because I don't have anybody with orders right now that say they want this, that, the other. I'm doing this for my sister, but I still need to take my time and listen to what the people are saying. Yes, ma'am. I'm youngest on here. How old are you? She says she's the youngest on here. Well, that's good. If you're the youngest on here and you starting out doing t-shirts and you learning how to do that, that's excellent. And don't let fear stop you. Don't let fear. She says she's 37. I thought she was going to say 17 or 18. She's 37. Gerald. You ancient against her.
Oh my God.
Right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. She's ancient. 37. That picture I showed y'all earlier, I was around, no, I was older than 37. 99. I was what? I was about 38, 39.
Yeah, you were in that same age.
Yeah.
In that same group. The 30-year-old.
Rhonda Armstrong said, I'm going to tell you like I used to tell my friend. Get your mind and body out of the grave and enjoy life. God has a lot for you to still do. You still have crafting to do. Love you. Love you too, Rhonda. And I'm not in the grave right now. My mind is not in the grave. I'm going to explain it to y'all. Some days my mind does be in the grave. I had a friend call me one day. She was like, because I was going through something. And she's a prophetess. I don't know if y'all believe in prophets and stuff today, but she called me from Atlanta and she said, because I kept telling God I was mad. I was like, I want to die. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. And she called me from Atlanta and said, Teresa, Holy God told me to tell you, if you want to die, he will take you now. I looked at the phone. I was like, what? And I was crying when she called. And when she called, she was crying. And I'm like, why is she calling me crying? And I'm crying. I need somebody to talk to. She calling me crying. What's going on? She was crying. And she said, Holy God told me to tell you, if you want to die right now, he will take you right now. I was like, well, what kind of a person is this that will call me and tell me this? I said, nobody knew. My husband didn't even know. Nobody knew what was going on, but God knew. And she said, God said, he's not finished with you. He's not finished. He still has work for you to do. But if you want to die, he loves you that much that if you don't want to be here, he'll take you. I about lost my mind when she said that. I was like, I was just playing. I was just mad, God. I didn't want to really die. I was just mad. That's what I said. And that's been over about 6 years ago when that happened. Because we was at the other place at 4. We've been here almost 2. So it's been about 6 years, maybe a little bit longer. Yep. I appreciate everything that y'all saying. And Michigan Red said, that's awesome. I love that saying. I need to put that on the shirt. Thank you for sharing that, Rhonda. Lakeisha said, love you because you have so much joy. Look, you got to laugh to keep from crying. You got to trust God when they don't look like things are going your way. You got to choose to live and not die. And you got to be who you are. I will never tell you not to feel what you feel. I will never tell you not to cry. You know why? Because God gave us feelings. God gave us emotions. God gave us love. God gave us joy. God gave us all of these things to feel. Not to wallow in, but to feel. God allows us to feel what we feel. Let me tell you, if you go back and read the Gospels, you will see some things that you probably didn't see before. You go back and read the Gospels, you will see that people had issues She said, I'm just going to put my phone down and shout until you end this live. Look at God. People were sick. Read the Bible. People were sick. Some of them got healed and some of them didn't. But some of them pressed into God so hard that he healed them. Because of their faith. They had so great faith. And I used to say, God, so what's wrong with me? How come I'm not getting healed? How come this isn't happening? My husband ran down to y'all, the people in the Bible who never got healed. And God used them. They never got their healing. Paul especially went to God 3 times and God never healed him. Jacob had a limp. God never healed that. Somebody said something to me one time. And I said that to them. I said, did God ever heal Jacob? Because he didn't.
Nope.
But God used him.
Bible says, till this day, he still wasn't out.
He didn't heal him. Job went through what Job went through. But he never cursed God. But he sat there and was talking about stuff. The prophet Elijah was depressed.
Yep.
Broad man was depressed, and people glaze over that. But Elijah was depressed. And why do I say that? Because when Jezebel said after Elijah, after God showed himself on Elijah's behalf with with the prophets and stuff and all the people that Elijah had killed, Jezebel said, by this time tomorrow you're gonna be dead, Elijah. Now he talking to the prophet. That God just did a miracle in front of the people. Job was like, I'm out. I'm out of here. Elijah. Elijah said, I'm out of here. He ran. Now this is a person that God just used mightily to prove that he was God. He proved himself to the people that were saying that their false gods were really God. God used Elijah to show the people who the true and living God really was. But Jezebel was mad and she said, guess what? By this time tomorrow you can be dead. Elijah ran. And this is the part that gets me, is that this man was called by God. God used this man. He was a prophet of God. God did miracles through this man. And because Jezebel said something out her mouth, by this time tomorrow you're going to be dead. He took the weight of what she said and ran. Now, if God just did that miracle in front of y'all, you mean he couldn't have stopped Jezebel? But he was caught up in his feelings. That's how he was feeling right then.
I know what God did.
I know, I'm getting to that.
Oh, yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is that we have feelings. A lot of times people don't want you to feel your feeling. I'm not saying that about anybody in this chat room. But I say this often to people who believe, because they have, and I told this lady one time, I said, if your faith's so strong, then why I'm not healed? Because if you believe so tough for me, why I'm not healed? And I said that being sarcastic because she was getting on my nerves and making me feel like I was living in sin. I was doing something so dirty and nasty. That's why I wasn't healed. And I was mad behind that. And I was like, why am I not healed? Since you're here, let's get me healed on your faith since you got so much. So that's why I did that. But Elijah had feelings. And he was going based on his feelings. He was like, this girl gonna kill me tomorrow. She said, by the time tomorrow, this time I'm gonna be dead. So he ran. And the Bible says he ran. And I believe he went into a cave. And God let him sit there and chill. He was like, oh, I don't want to be here. Like, what is the point? You know, ain't nobody left but me.
He tried to kill himself.
He said, nobody's left but me. First of all, arrogance. Okay, pride. Lying. He said, there's no prophet left but me. It's only me. And God had to let him know, hold up, bro. You ain't the only one left. I got other people that have not bowed down their knees to Baal. So get yourself together. Stop it. Long story short, when Elijah sat underneath that sycamore tree, he was feeling sorry for himself and everything. God said to him, "Get up. Enough is enough. I've had enough. Get up. I'm going to send you some manna. You're going to eat it so you can have enough strength to run to your next assignment." He did what God said after he got finished complaining and wanting to die. He ain't try to kill himself, but he just wanted to sit there and die. So he had thoughts of dying, because Jezebel said, by this time tomorrow you're going to be dead. God was like, he let him wallow in it too for a minute. And then he finally said, "You know what, Elijah, get up, stop, get yourself together." God sent him manna from heaven, told him to eat it because you got to run to where I'm sending you to. And sent birds to feed him too, my husband said. He sent birds. He fed the man and told him to get up. Your journey, your job ain't done. I'm not finished with you. Get up. And I say this all the time. If we go through depression, if we go through sadness, or whatever we go through, God allows that, but don't stay there. Come up out of it. Come up out of it. He was having his own pity party. Amen. That's exactly what he was doing. He was having, after the miracles God just wrought through him, he still had his pity party, and God let him.
The queen said, "I'm going to make sure you die."
Right.
Any old woman.
So
She the queen of the whole empire.
he believed what she said, because like my husband said, she was the queen of the whole empire and all of that. She had power.
Right.
So she could have had him killed right then. She said, by this time tomorrow, you're going to be dead. And I believe that God allows her to say this time tomorrow, because she could have snatched him up or had somebody else snatched him up right then and had him killed. But God gave him time to go through what he was going through. All right, let me just, this man, he going to run. I already know what he's going to do. I'm going to let him run. I'm going to let him hide in the cave. I'm going to let him sit under the tree. I'm going to let him have a pity party. Woe was me. But I'm going to feed him after a couple of days. I'm going to let him sit there. I'm going to feed him. I'm going to send the ravens. I'm going to feed him. And then he going to get up. He going to go do what I told him to do. And guess what he had to do? He had to pass the mantle. Mm-hmm. That's why he couldn't die. He had to pass the mantle to Elisha.
Who got the double anointing.
Exactly. So God knew what his assignment was for Elijah, to pass on the anointing, the double anointing to Elisha, so Elisha could continue the work. Elijah wasn't going nowhere until he passed the buck, until he passed the anointing, until he passed the mantle. He wasn't going nowhere. So Jezebel's words, though they were threatening, she wasn't going to be able to do anything to Elijah, because God had a plan and a purpose for him to complete.
And then look what happened to Jezebel.
And then just like the prophet spoke about Jezebel, that you was going to be eaten by dogs, so it came to pass. She was eaten by dogs. She was eaten by dogs.
And Elijah went up to heaven.
So
died in a chariot.
He was gone. He was out this piece. But he couldn't do it until he did what his God-given purpose was. Until he did what he was chosen to do.
That's right.
Everybody wasn't chosen to do that. Right. He was chosen to do that. Mm-hmm. He was chosen to do those miracles. He was chosen to speak Jezebel's demise. He was chosen to pass on the double anointing to Elisha. And then it was his time to go to heaven. God didn't beat him. He didn't condemn him for feeling the way he was feeling, because he had them feelings. And they were real. That's how he felt. But God was like, listen, it's time for you to get up. You done had your little pity party. You had a little bit of cheese with your wine. Let's go. Get up and finish what I chose you to do. And then when he did it, he didn't die no horrible death. He didn't do none of that. God took him up in a chariot. He was gone.
Yep. Didn't even die.
And that's the testimony. Until your assignment from God has been completed, we will be here until God calls us home. And I believe that.
Some people never realize that.
I believe that.
That's the sad part about it. Some people never do realize it.
But some people do never realize it. People do say that the grave is rich.
Yeah.
The graveyard is rich. There's a lot of people that have not completed their purpose on this earth, whether it be a natural purpose or a spiritual purpose. Some people choose not to do what God has called them to do, though they know what God has called them to do and or chosen them to do. A lot of people just don't want to do the assignment of God because it takes sacrifice. It takes something that they're not willing to do. Or fear will pop in and say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not capable of doing that. Oh, God, I don't want to do that. Why would you ask me to do that? They're not going to believe me. Like Moses. They're not going to listen to me because I got a thick tongue. Send somebody else. God said, who made the tongue?
He made the mute.
Who made it? Who made the tongue? Who made the deaf? Who made the mute? Who made all these people?
He never said he made them deaf. He said who made them. So the deaf man, he didn't make you deaf, but you were deaf and he made you.
The blind man, what was that child? He was blind from birth.
Yeah.
And they say, who sinned, him or his mother?
Yeah, in John chapter 9.
Jesus said, ain't none of them sinned.
That's what the disciples asked him, Lord, now which one of these people sinned? The father, the mother, or the man himself?
None of them.
He said, no, neither the father nor the mother, nor the man himself. It was so that God would get the glory from it.
That's what it was for. So he was born blind. Nobody did anything.
Certainly not.
Right.
Me.
Y'all, see, this is what happened when you get caught up in stuff. So, ooh, we could do this all day. Don't forget to tap the 3 dots in the right corner and hit the thumbs up. Because the wages of sin is death. Yes, the wages of sin is death. And when we don't want to do what God has called us to do and or chosen us to do, I believe he calls you and chooses you. If you're chosen, he got to call you first and choose you. But see, people have taken that scripture out of context. And that's why I'm so glad yesterday he said that and broke it down like that, because people think when they say many are called, a few are chosen, they're talking about sinners. Like, he didn't call you because you're a sinner. You're a sinner, so he didn't call you. No, many are called. When we are saved and born again, we're called then.
Yeah, we're sanctified.
We're called then.
Set apart. Yeah, we're set apart.
Right at the moment that we become born again, we're already chosen, called and set apart. And what did he say to the prophet? Who was that? Jeremiah. I knew you before you were formed in your mama's womb. I already knew you. Before you got in your mom's womb, I already knew you. I already knew the assignment on your life. I already knew who you were going to be. I already knew the people you were going to touch. I already knew the people you were going to preach to. I already knew the people you were going to prophesy to. I already knew it. We're not surprising God. We're not telling God something he ain't already know. God ain't surprised when we're walking in our calling, when we're walking in our chosenness. God isn't surprised. But I'm sure he doesn't like it when we rebel and say, nope, I'm not doing that. How can we tell the Creator we're the created, but we tell the Creator what we are and are not going to do? But God in his mercy gives us free choice. He gives us free choice. It's up to us to do what we're supposed to do. And does fear enter in? Yes. Of course it does. Fear of the unknown. Fear of people, what they're going to say. How they might even look at you. How they might not believe nothing you're saying. Might totally come against you about what you're saying. But God said, I called you. I chose you. This is your assignment. So when we die and we have to stand before God, and he said, well, why didn't you do what I called you to do? Why didn't you do what I chose you to do? Because I feared the people, God. I feared the people, God. I feared the people, God. And he's going to say, didn't I send my word and tell you to fear not, I'm with you? Be not dismayed, I am your God. Didn't I tell you that? Didn't I tell you not to look on their countenance? Didn't I tell you not to look at them? But put your eyes on me. Didn't I tell you that? Didn't I tell you that I would speak for you? I will give you the words to say. Prophet, didn't I tell you that? While people out here messing up in sermons and saying all different kind of things to people, and we sitting back knowing what we're supposed to do, and we not even saying nothing while these people are being infected and affected by heretical teaching. So we say, oh, you know, they was preaching some crazy stuff, but what was you preaching? And God called you to preach. What was you doing? So it's going to be too late when we have to stand before him. It's going to be too late. So we better go and do what we got to do now. All right, y'all, I'm out. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I've been using my Cricut to do all of my shirts. DIY yourself. Me too. I use my Cricut to cut my vinyl. Y'all, I need somebody to send me a Cricut Joy Extra because I want one. I need a Cricut Joy Extra. Can somebody send me one? I need a Cricut Joy Extra. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. And when you ask amiss. I'm not asking amiss. I'm asking because somebody send me a Cricut Joy Extra. Don't pay me any mind. But pay me some mind because I really would like a Cricut Joy Extra for my 60th birthday, please. Please. Don't make me sing. Please.
Please, please.
He said, please. He is crazy. She said, well, alrighty then, butter. Yep, God is good. Listen.
Till next time.
I'm going to say this and I'm getting off of here. Some people told me a long time ago that God had called me to preach, right? Called me to preach, called me to evangelize. I'm going through this thing now where I'm listening to people and I'm listening to the Bible where it says women are not to usurp authority over a man. Women are to keep silence in the church and not usurp authority over a man. If she has a question, let her ask her husband at home. So now all these debates going on about women preachers and whether women should pastor and just to be quiet in the church. So I've been wrestling with that. Lord, if you really want me to preach, I need you to let me know in no uncertain terms that I'm supposed to preach and not worry about what people are saying, even though it's in the Bible said women are to keep silent in the church. I remember I preached my first sermon and nobody had faith in me. Nobody believed I could preach this sermon called the trial sermon at this time. Because I wasn't really well liked and people just didn't jive with me and I didn't jive with them for whatever reason. In the church though. And I remember I had my trial sermon and I preached on Lazarus. Lazarus come forth. Remember when Jesus told Lazarus to come forth when Lazarus had been dead already? And Jesus said he ain't dead, he's sleeping. And they was like, what you talking about? That man been in the grave 3 days, he dead. And he stinketh. But I remember I preached that sermon. I remember I had somebody tie me up. And I remember I came from behind some curtains that were up. And I was hopping. I believe I think I had my husband say Lazarus come forth because he got that big booming voice.
I did.
And then I came through the curtain hopping. Now what I wanted everybody to know is that Lazarus was not in a grave where his body was set right there at the tomb. You had to walk into the tomb where the bodies were laid. They weren't laid right there at the door. You had to walk into the tomb to lay the body there. And if you went in there to visit, you would have to walk into the tomb a little ways to get to the body. So imagine, people think that when Jesus said Lazarus come forth, like the strings just magically dropped off of him. But when Lazarus recognized his voice, he got up off that table and hopped his behind to where Jesus was. He was tied up. He was stinking. He was dead. But he had heard the voice of Jesus and he hopped. He hopped out that grave. And everybody, look, he's alive. He's alive. He's alive. And that was my first sermon. And the people were going crazy in the church. They couldn't believe it. Not this girl, not her. Not that girl who everybody had labeled me as a whore and, all kind of things. I was no good. They heard stories about me, this, that, and the third. People didn't think that God would use me. Not me. But see, God calls and chooses whom he wants to use. For whatever reason he wants to use you, he's choosing you to do what he has called you to do. So, get it together. They're not even listening. They talking about somebody's birthday. They said, and I print out with my Cricut too, but did no stickers on it. I haven't done the stickers yet either. I did the DTF half with the Cricut. I did that too. Baby, I will be 67. Armstrong, you'll be 67? October the 11th. Wow, I would have never guessed that. Michigan Red, happy early birthday, Rhonda. My daughter's birthday is the 15th. Does that say 15? I can't see. Yeah, the 15th. Well, my birthday is in May, so I'll be 60. Not 67. I'll be 60. I'm having a party, y'all. Now I'm working on party favors, chip bags and stuff. I'm working on candy bars. We hear you, but I'm working on candy bar purses. I think I'm going to make one and do it on a short. I'm going to make it a short, though. I might do it on a long one. I got the stuff to do it. I just haven't done it yet. Because my sister wanted me to make her some candy bar purses. Because she's planning a trip to Hawaii or cruise. And she asked me to make them for her. Now, the cruise is not till next year. So I was like, how am I going to get all these candy bars to her? She live in Arizona. And they're probably going to melt. Or whatever. So then I thought about it. I was laying there in the bed. I know it was God because I didn't even think about it. And I heard this voice say so plainly, you can't make the purses now because they will all be expired next year. So don't spend your money on buying candy when all she's going to do is throw it away. Girl, I was floored. I said, what? What? Sure did. I bought Hershey bar. I said, I didn't even think of that, God. She would have had to throw all her candy away. Because 2025 in September, it'd have been all gone. It'd have been expired. So that's what I'm going to try next. I'm going to try to make the purse bags. My brother-in-law said, you're trying to do too much. You do too much. Stick to one thing and do that good and then move to something else. But I can do t-shirts good. I'm just learning something different. I can use vinyl real good on t-shirts. I can use sublimation real good on t-shirts. On the polyester ones. I can do cups and bling mugs out and make jewelry. I can do a lot of stuff good. Now I'm trying something different. Y'all gotta go. I'm sweating. Whew. I am really sweating. So, I love y'all. Thank y'all for the love. Thank y'all for the encouragement. Whew. But I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm hot. So, Letitia, if you have any questions, let me know. Rhonda Armstrong, let me know if you have any questions. Lakeisha, I said Letitia. Lakeisha, let me know if y'all have any questions about what y'all are doing. And if I can help you, I will. That's one thing about me. If I can help you, I will. People out here charging stuff and this, that, and other. I'm not charging anything because I'll get my reward. I definitely will get my reward. So, that's how it is. Amen. Thank you for this amazing time. Abundant blessings to you all, and God bless and keep you. And the same to you, Minda. The same to you, big sis. And may God keep you and your family and everybody around you, that they be blessed and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. And everybody, let's do what we've been called to do and chosen to do. God bless. God bless. God bless and keep you. Amen. Amen. Night night.